Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradari Jaya Girivaradha Gopijana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Girivaradha Yashodanandana Jaya Brajajanaranja Jaya Yashodanandana Jaya Brajajanaranja Yamunatiravanachari Jai Kunja Vihari Jaya Kunja Vihari Yamunatiravanachari Jai Kunja Vihari Jaya Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. Good morning, everyone. So we are reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 20, verse 42 to 44. So as we have 3 verses, so I will just read them and then read their translation in purport. Recite them words. Sharad arkam jam stapan bhutanam ulopoharat deha bhimana jambodho mukundo vrajayoshitam. Translation. The autumn moon relieved all creatures of the suffering caused by the sun's rays, just as wisdom relieves a person of the misery caused by his identifying with his material body. And as Lord Mukunda relieves Vrindavan's ladies of the distress caused by their separation from him. Next shloka, shloka number 43. Kham shobhat nirmegham sharad vimalatarakam sattva yuktam yatha chittam shabda brahmartha darshanam. Free of clouds and filled with clearly visible stars, the autumn sky shone brilliantly, just like the spiritual consciousness of one who has directly experienced the purport of the Vedic scriptures. Purport by the disciples of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The clear and starry autumn sky can also be compared to the pure heart of the devotee. The spiritual nature is always brilliant, clean, and blissful. And this spiritual nature, called Vaikuntha, immediately satisfies all the desires of the soul. This is the secret of Krishna consciousness. Next shloka, shloka number 44. Akhanda mandalo vyomni rarajodu ganeshashi yatha yadupati Krishna vrishni chakravrato bhuvi. Translation and purport. Translation: the full moon shone in the sky surrounded by stars, just as Sri Krishna, the Lord of the Yadu dynasty, shone brilliantly on the earth surrounded by all the Vishnus. Purport: Srila Sanatana Goswami explains that in Vrindavan, the full moon is eternally risen. And this full moon is like the full manifestation of the absolute truth. Sri Krishna, when he was manifest on earth, Lord Krishna was surrounded by prominent members of the Vrishni dynasty, such as Nanda, Upananda, Vasudev, and Akrura. Now we'll recite prayers. Om Agyantimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Miritam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Anvitam Tam Sachivam Savadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakha Nitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So seeking the blessings of all the assembled Vaishnavas here, please bless me that I can speak something to glorify Shri Krishna and increase our attachment to Krishna and to the practice of He has given to us by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. So let's again revisit the 3 shlokas we have. So first of all, chapter 20. Chapter 20 is titled as the rainy season and autumn in Vrindavan. And in that, we are seeing 3 shlokas today. First one is number 42. The autumn moon relieved all creatures of the suffering caused by the sun's rays. Just as wisdom relieves a person of the misery caused by his identifying with his material body. And Lord Mukunda relieves Vrindavan's ladies of the distress caused by their separation from it. And in the purport, there is no purport to this one. The next one, free of clouds and filled with clearly visible stars. The autumn sky shone brilliantly, just like the spiritual consciousness of one who has directly experienced the purport of the Vedic scriptures. Purport, the clear and starry autumn can also be compared to the pure heart of the devotee. The spiritual nature is always brilliant, clean, and blissful, and the spiritual nature called Vaikuntha immediately satisfies all the desires of the soul. This is the secret of Krishna consciousness. And the last shloka for today. The full moon shone in the sky surrounded by stars, just as Sri Krishna, the Lord of the Yadu dynasty, shone brilliantly on earth, surrounded by all the Krishnas. Purport, Srila Sanatana Goswami explains that in Vrindavan, the full moon is eternally risen. And this full moon is like the full manifestation of the Absolute, Sri Krishna. When he was manifest on earth, Lord Krishna was surrounded by prominent members of the Vishnu dynasty, such as Nanda, Upananda, Vasudeva. So we would try to discuss all these three shlokas and the points which really struck me out. So the first one, so it's talking about the suffering caused by the sun rays. Just if we reflect in Vedic astrology or in the Vedic scriptures, sun, like how in the US we have songs like "Here Comes the Sun," and people are happy and summer is coming, people are relishing. But in India, generally such importance is not given to the sun. Maybe because it's a tropical country. There are temples of the sun god. But sun is also considered as a krur grah. Krur means in very layman's terms, I can say evil. Why? Because Bhagavatam teaches us that with every rising and setting of the sun, one comes closer to death. And here we are talking about suffering caused by the sun's rays. Now we are talking about the rainy season and the autumn season. And before that was summer. And if you have been to India, if you have been to Vrindavan during the summer, you know what we are talking about here. So there is basically a comparison going on. And they're saying that this moon has relieved all creatures of the suffering caused by the sun's rays. And what's the comparison? Just like wisdom relieves a person of the misery caused by his identifying with his material body. So there are a couple of things here. First is wisdom. Then second is misery, the relieving of misery. And third is it is caused by identifying with this material. So if you, recently I was reading this section in second canto, chapter number 9, which was basically, which is the end part of that chapter is known as Chatushloki Bhagavatam. That in 4 shlokas, the essence of Srimad Bhagavatam is spoken. And this is the place where also 2 of the questions of Parikshit Maharaj are answered. And one of those questions is that why do people suffer so much? Is this real? And then Maya is explained there. And it's explained there that how the root cause of our suffering is our identification with this material body. Just like how we are when we sleep and we dream. So whatever we see in the dream, to the degree we identify with it, to that degree, it would affect us. So that's why sometimes when people wake up from a nightmare, their heart is racing, they're sweating, because body is reacting to it. Our body in this world is reacting to the identification which was there in our mind. So all this suffering is happening only because of identification. In reality, we actually don't suffer. Pain is there for sure. So it says that pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. So that's the point which I'm trying to make here. That in truth, To the degree we go crazy and we suffer is only to the degree we are identifying with the material body. And a self-realized person is one who doesn't identify with the material body or even the subtle body, that is our mind, intelligence, and ego, but truly understands the true ego or true identity. Krishner Nityadas. That is, that we are eternally servants of Krishna. That is our true identity. Jivir Sarup. That is our Swarup. That is who we are. And we are talking about misery also here. So the word misery can be taken from the word miser. Now, who is a miser? Can anyone say? Online devotees. Who is a miser?
One who doesn't share with others.
Okay. Don't do distributed attack on me. It's like the in hacking, multiple computers come to one computer at the same time. Yes, Krishna Daya Prabhu, please.
One who doesn't share with others. Kripana.
Share with others. Yes. Anyone else on the word miser? Yes, Deputy Prabhu.
I would say one who hoards, like keeps collecting and collecting.
Yes. Someone who is hoarding. But if you go into the root of the word, it comes from the word wretched. That's the root of the word miser. And it has been spoken so much that miserly person doesn't do this, miserly person doesn't do that, especially here in the purport. Prabhupada has used this word a lot. But what kind of miserly nature is here, which we are speaking about? So generally in the world, generally miser people are people who are hoarding money, or they are not sharing their wealth or resources. They're keeping it for themselves, or maybe not even for themselves. They just want to save, sit. So this here, we talk about people who are not ready to give their time. They're saving their time to give to Krishna. They're saving their time and effort to inquire, why am I suffering? What's gonna happen to me after I die, after I leave this body? How, like they are not discussing about Brahma. They don't have Brahma Jigyasa. So these people are basically miserly people, that they save their time, they hoard their time, that I'll do whatever I have to do, but I'll not do spiritual stuff. And being miserly in this way leads to misery. And this is a misery we are talking about here. And for coming out of that misery, you need to give time to first get gyan, that I am a spirit soul, and I am supposed to serve others and supposed to serve Krishna. And that gyan becomes vigyan when we actually churn it, when we realize it. And that is the wisdom we are talking here about. Otherwise, what is the difference? And this is one of my favorite shlokas, which I say so many times. Most of the times I've, I think, spoken on this platform also, that dharmo hi tesham adhiko vishesho dharmena hina pashubi samana. Means dharma is the only adhik. Adhik means extra. Vishesh means special. That's a special extra thing which we have as human beings. Otherwise, what's the difference between us and animals? Because animals ahar nidra bhaya maithunam cha. They are also having eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. We are also doing the same thing. Maybe in a more refined way, maybe in a more unrefined way. So, but ultimately it's the same. So if we don't have dharma in our life, then what's the use of this life? We are just increasing the identification with this material body, and we continue to suffer. So that was something which I really wanted us to focus upon. So just like Lord Mukunda is relieving Vrindavan's ladies of the distress caused by the separation from him, in the same way, if we inquire from a bona fide spiritual master, if we read the teachings of the Vedic scriptures, if we study under a bona fide lineage, we get that wisdom, and slowly we'll be relieved from our misery, which is caused by the identification with this material body. So that is the first shloka. Coming to the next shloka. Free of clouds and filled with clearly visible stars, the autumn sky shone brilliantly, just like the spiritual consciousness of one who has directly experienced the purport of the Vedic scriptures. So, I would like to ask all of you, what do you guys think is the purport of the Vedic scriptures? If someone asks you, okay, you have this Srimad Bhagavatam, you have this Bhagavad Gita, what is that essence? What is the purport? Is the Vedic scriptures are teaching you about how to make planes, Viman Shastra? Or are they teaching you about how to live life as a citizen? Or what are they teaching? What's the purport here that's being referred to? Yes, Vanisha.
Surrender
Surrender. Surrender to whom?
to Krishna.
Surrender to Krishna. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Vanisha. Yes, this is one of the purports of the Vedic scriptures. Anyone else? Anyone? What's the purport of the Vedic scriptures?
Prema Pumartamaha.
Can you translate it for us, Prabhu?
Which Chaitanya said our objective is love of God only.
The objective is love of God. So one is saying surrender to Krishna, and the other is saying love of God. Love to Krishna, I would say that. Anyone else? Anything from the Bhagavad Gita you would like to say?
We are not the body.
We are not the body. Okay.
Vedesya sarvairahameva vedya.
Yes, Kaushal Prabhu. Can you please explain that?
Means of all Vedic, like through the Vedic study or through the study of all Vedic literatures, I am the one to be known. Krishna is saying that.
Yes. That is the purport of the Vedic scriptures, actually. That is the purport. That I am to be known through Vedas. And now, after knowing them, yes, we surrender to Krishna. After knowing Krishna, then we basically love Krishna. Or we can also say that another shloka from Bhagavad Gita, Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam bhudha bhava samanvita. Means Krishna is saying that I am the source of all the spiritual and material worlds. This is one of the very main teachings of our scriptures. It's also one of the main teachings of the Chatushloki or of Bhagavad Gita, that Krishna is the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Now, what do we do? What do we do after knowing that? Basically, we understand that because everything is coming from Krishna, means Krishna is the proprietor of everything. It doesn't belong to us. Everything belongs to Krishna. And once we have this knowledge, then the second part comes that we become wise. So why I quoted this shloka specifically? Because this word Buddha is used. Buddha. So Buddha, or the enlightened one. Here we say Buddha. This is the 10th chapter, verse number 8. Buddha means the learned or the wise. So Prabhupada actually writes, the wise who perfectly knows this, knows what? That Krishna is the source of all, everything. Everything is coming from Krishna. That person will worship Krishna with all their heart. So worshipping Krishna, the surrender aspect has come. And all their heart, the loving aspect has come. But why? The why is answered in the first part of the shloka, that everything is coming from Krishna. So that was another point which I thought that we should focus. So this is the spiritual consciousness of this person, that stars are clearly visible, the sky shone brilliantly. That's how the pure our consciousness should be. That's the clarity we are talking about here. One should have. If anyone asks us, okay, we are reading so much, what the scriptures are trying to tell us? So they are basically teaching us this Vaikuntha consciousness. And once we know this, that we are supposed to surrender and love Krishna because everything is coming from Krishna. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then immediately we feel satisfied. We feel relieved. This is the wisdom we are talking here about. Coming to the next shloka. So, in this shloka, the full moon shone in the sky surrounded by stars, just as Sri Krishna, the Lord of the Yadu dynasty, shone brilliantly on earth surrounded by all the Vishnus. And Sanatan Goswami is saying in the purport it's mentioned that Vrindavan, the full moon is eternally risen. This full moon is like the full manifestation of the absolute truth, Sri Krishna. He was manifest on earth. Lord Krishna was surrounded by prominent members of the Vrishni dynasty. So I was also thinking that I would go and I would just speak about the four personalities who are mentioned in this purport. But I would just focus on one thing from this shloka. And what is that shloka? What is that part? The part is that the full moon is eternally risen. And this full moon is a manifestation of absolute truth, Sri Krishna. So we have to understand how many times do we get the opportunity to discuss the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam in a temple setting like that. We have so many cantos, we have so many verses, we have so many chapters. It's rare. It takes time. Right? We are now, I think, we are in the 20th chapter, maybe 20 more chapters, and the Vrindavan aspect of the Krishna Leela would end. And then we'll go to Mathura, and then we'll go to Dwarka. But even just to read Srimad Bhagavatam, how much time we give then once we come to 10th canto. So it's a long wait. Similarly, if we see in one day of Brahma, it's only once. That's the daytime of Brahma. It's only once that Sri Krishna is appearing himself, the original personality of Godhead. And he's specifically coming not only to do paritranaya sadhunam, to vinashaya cha dushkritanam, that is basically to do welfare of the saintly people, to give them association, to establish dharma, and also to annihilate the demons, but also to give us means all of us who are here in this earthly plane, the living entities, the jivas, a glimpse of Vrindavan. So it's a very, very, very rare thing. Our fortune is that it just happened. Now, in the bigger scheme of things, if you see Brahma's day, there are 1,000 Chatur Yugas in the daytime. And that one particular yuga, Krishna is coming. And that particular yuga was the previous yuga to us. So 1,000 Chatur Yugas. Chatur Yuga means 4 yugas combined, 4 yuga cycle, 1 cycle. So 4 into 1,000. And that there is 4 yugas are Satyug, Treta Yug, Dwapar Yug, and Kali Yug. And in Kali Yug we are there. So we should understand. And this Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also, Acharyas say that every other yuga, this is Gaur Narayan. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is actually Vishnu himself. But this Chaitanya, who has come just 500 years ago, is not Narayan, is Krishna. Is Krishna himself who has come. So we got to witness the Vrindavan pastimes. It is so recent for us. The Supreme Personality, the original personality of Godhead came to attract us to Vrindavan, to show his majesty, so that we can experience the loving relationship. We can read about the loving relationships of Lord Krishna and his devotees. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes to show us how to be a devotee, how to surrender, how to love Sri Krishna. So just understanding that how lucky we are, what fortune we have. And now we have Srila Prabhupada, who was just here 50 years ago, 60 years ago, and who has given us so much. So even to have that gratitude that I'm here at this point in time, and the ball is in our court. Whether we want to be miserly, save our time and not do devotional service, or use this time to associate with devotees. Association means to inspire each other, to become closer with Krishna. Use this time to go deeper into scriptures. Use this time to serve the Lord and the Vaishnavas. So let's not be miserly. Let's appreciate our fortune of being here in this moment, surrounded by Vaishnavas and practicing bhakti. In a bona fide way. So with this, I open up for questions and answers and criticisms and comments. Please.
Beautiful class, Karuna Nimai Prabhu. Wonderful. Dear devotees, please don't be miserly. Give your time and ask a question. Give your intelligence to Krishna. Okay, Ananda Manjari. Oh, that's a note. It's a note. Ananda Manjari, thank you for your notes. Okay. I don't see any questions in the chat.
Kadamba Maharaj just left this world. Probably the whole movement, everyone saw his last statements, and he was calling everyone, this is a treasure. The verse is about how the wisdom comes and it is a clarification of our vision. And he said, this is a great treasure. It's so precious. Hold it close. Follow the instructions of the spiritual master. Stay deeply absorbed in devotional service. It's such a heartfelt call to all of us to see what is most important. Vedic wisdom, Krishna's, the access to Krishna's wisdom is just so, such a blessing, huh? Everybody heard that, right? Yeah?
Yeah.
Very, very sweet. And these descriptions of the autumn season and the rain and the summer and the vegetation, how everything, they go through phases. Even in our own life, we have by Krishna so wonderful, he gives us this vision of the phases that we go through. Every household couple knows, okay, the wife knows my husband was a brahmachari, and now we're in a phase where there's some embracing and bringing children. And then another phase will come where we live together like brother and sister. And then every girl knows at one point my husband will become even more fully absorbed in devotional service and accept a sannyas posture. So the phases of our life are there. And without this information, people just blindly stumble through life and look for the wrong thing. Like you said, like misers, we mistake the goal and we mistake what is valuable, and we forget that there's something higher. Marge was saying, no matter how much money somebody has, this is much, much more valuable. This clear recipe, this information that the Guru is giving, that Krishna is giving us a blueprint to how to live our life, what to strive for. Anyway, just a little contribution. Glories to Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Ananda Manjari, you have your hand up.
Yes, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Karuna Nimai Prabhu. Thank you for your class. I want to appreciate how you elaborated on what it even means to be miserly, like a sutra, and how much it contains, and this instruction of because I never actually thought about this word, and Srila Prabhupada uses it often, and I actually never really checked it, and it really brings me closer to this idea of like this is such a meditation to even think about this single word and to remember that we are asked to give everything we have also for our own benefit, not even just for the sake of a principle. And it also reminded me of this, there's this metaphor used in Slavic countries, which is called like the gardener's dog, which is like the dog would not eat vegetables, but he would not share it. And I feel like this is kind of what we are doing at times, which is we don't want to offer what we have, and yet it doesn't even belong to us anyway, and we are only falling into suffering by not doing so. And so I appreciate very much this point And now I would like to bring a question from Alan Ginsberg from the chat. He asks, do you get closer to Krishna by service or by studying? So what is your answer?
How did you get that close to Krishna, Karuna Nimai Prabhu? Was it by service or study?
Prabhu, I'm very, very far from Krishna. But my inspiration is all of you. Yeah. Just looking at this question, what I remember is this shloka. Adho Shraddha Tata Sadhu Sangostha Bhajana Kriya Tato Nartha Nivratti Syat Tato Nishtha Ruchistata. So I'm basically saying the 9 stages of bhakti as stated in the Madhurya Kadambini. So Adho Shraddha. So we have little faith. Then so when we are coming to the temple where we're associating with devotees for the first time, we have little faith. That is Adho Shraddha. And then Tata Sadhu Sangha. Then we associate with devotees, we attend regularly any class or any kind of activity. Sadhu Sang means association. Now, while you are doing service or you are doing hearing katha or you are reading together or you're just meeting basically in the temple. So that is Sadhu Sangha. After that, what happens? Bhajan Kriya. Now, what sadhus are doing? Sadhus means people who have given their heart to Krishna. They are sadhus, saints. What are they doing? Bhajan Kriya. They're doing bhajan. Bhajana means what? Worship. Worship of whom? Krishna. Now they can do worship by chanting, by japa, by kirtan, by seva to Krishna. They're doing bhajan. And what happens to this person who is new? His faith increases and he's engaged. Devotees are not going to let people just walk around. He said, oh, you are coming so regularly. Come and sit, do kirtan with us. Oh, come here, do prasad distribution with us. Oh, come and I'm cleaning the temple hall. Please clean the temple with me. And this is bhajan kriya. Once you start doing this, what happens? Anarth nivratti. Anarthas are there in the heart. And they start to leave. So all the 6 anarthas, or I would say Shadripu, the enemies, lust, anger, greed, pride, delusion, all those things, they start to leave. So now coming back to the question, how do we get closer to Krishna? I would say we get closer to Krishna by associating with Vaishnavas. Now, whether we are studying or whether we are doing seva, association of Vaishnavas is the key. So this is my humble opinion. But yes, there are many other ways also. You can just meditate on the form of Krishna. Can be closer to Krishna. There are so many ways to worship Krishna and get closer to Krishna. But this is what I would say. Does that answer your question? Then Prabhu.
Angel. He's probably studying or serving or doing the whole thing. What was the reference again, Karuna Nimai Prabhu? The 9 processes of bhakti. Where is that?
Madhurya. 9 stages of bhakti.
Okay. Thank you. Okay.
They are in that section. They are written in in a very deep way. So till Anarth Nivratti, we are like it's an uphill battle. After Anarth Nivratti, it's like a downhill thing. Everything happens automatically. But we have to stay. The longest stage is Anarth Nivratti.
How many lifetimes is that?
That depends on which acharya you are reading.
Okay.
But Srila Prabhupada says, if you follow the 4 regulative principles, if you chant 16 rounds, if just by doing this and having faith on this process, in this very life, you'll go back to God. So with faith in Srila Prabhupada, I would say that in this very lifetime we can go, if we are sincere.
Yes. Thank you, Prabhu. Yeah, sometimes we're trying to break our heads, trying to figure out our eternal spiritual form or what phase we're at. But we just have to keep serving and it will manifest automatically. Srila Prabhupada sometimes would answer questions like that. He would say, you go to spiritual world and find out. You serve and you'll find out why Krishna is blue, why the flute and all that. You go there and you'll find out.
Ask Krishna. Ask
Yeah.
Krishna, hey Krishna, why did you choose this color?
Yeah.
Why are you playing these flutes?
Yeah. Jamuna Jai has her hands up.
Hare Krishna, Karuna Nimai. Thank you for class. And that question, the answer rather to Angel's question was just amazing. As you were describing it, I was thinking about someone I know that's fairly new to Christian consciousness, and that was exactly the path. I'm like, of course, that's exactly what happened to her. So it was like, right, of course. But back to your unpacking of the word miserly, like Ananda Mandri, I never really thought about that word much, even though it comes up. I always think of Ebenezer Scrooge from Christmas Carol. I think of it as miserly, but when I was thinking, as you were talking about it, it is also in the word miserable. And we are such in misery and miserable. And who is the person that is never miserable? It is Krishna, who only gives us all. So it's such the contrast of like, here we are in this deep misery from being miserly, and he who is not is absolutely the opposite. So it made so much sense. So thank you for engaging us to think about that word more deeply. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Jamuna Jaya, for your comment. Thank you.
If Jamuna Jai is miserable, where am I? I'm like, I don't know. Jeffrey,
Yes,
I could-
Jeffrey.
I was just thinking, because you brought up 10:8, and then in 10:9, the Bhagavad Gita says that in discussing Krishna, we will be satisfied and happy. And I'm seeing your smile and Jamuna's smile and Ananda Bihari's smile, and everyone seems so happy this morning, and I appreciate it so much. Thank you.
This is a smile therapy, this class. Okay.
It's 8 o'clock. I'm very grateful for this opportunity to come and share little I know. Thank you for tolerating me. Thank you. Please pray so that I don't become miser in life. And I can use my time and not save it. Use my time to serve Vaishnavas and Krishna.
Yeah. The time will pass anyway, so let's give it to Krishna. We'll lose it anyway. It'll be taken. So let's do something nice with our life. Adipusha Prabhu, will you facilitate darshan?
Yeah, I have to go move the vehicle, but
It's Sunday,
I'll
and
hold it a little bit.
it's
I'll hold it
Sunday.
a little
Kula
bit.
Pradeepa should be on the altar, and we want to
Yeah.
hear the conch shell.
Yeah. When he blows the conch shell, the whole building shakes.
Yeah. So
The whole block shakes.
yeah, I can probably hear it from where I am.
It does it with such a big heart. Not exactly the physical vibration, it's the consciousness. So wonderful.
Yeah. It's his consciousness. Yeah.
You should see
Thank you,
him running back and forth from the pujar room to the altar. Such love.
Yeah. Okay, well, we're still waiting for the darshan. Would anyone else like to share, reflect?
If you guys can, just please read the purport of the shloka which I quoted. 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, verse number 8. Do read the purport of it. It's amazing.
10:8. Home assignment from Karuna Nimai.
Doing group proofs before reading the Deep? No. Yes or no? After. Concho, are you ready? Hold on to your head.
Appreciate you. Stare at my face.
Where do you live? Kirtan.
Yeah, it's not working. I'm so sorry.
Asyanti Panti Kayanti Tiram
Thank you, Adipusha Prabhu. Thanks everyone. Bruce Prabhu, thank you for your brief darshan. It was nice seeing everybody. Have a wonderful day. Thank you very much for your steadiness, for your example, for your inspiration. We love you. Yes, Bruce, we love you. We love you. We love you. Everyone in this call on YouTube, we love you. Krishna loves you. Don't be miserly and give everything you have. That's all it takes. Just everything you have. That's all. Okay, Hare Krishna. Have a wonderful Sunday. Hang out with devotees, do some service, and come back tomorrow. Hare Krishna.